Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, anytime it is. Thank you for tuning in to your daily dose of Donkey with Ginger. I am your host, the Viking Donkey, joined once again by Mutant Gingy to bring in sports talk. This time, though, it's going to be start of the new season. Gingy, what's going on?
Yo, yo, Donkey, what up? Gingy in the house. We are looking at big weeks in free agency, Donkey. People are spending money. New
Woohoo,
England
yeah,
Patriots being
there's.
one of them. Big,
Yeah.
big spending spree. What was it? 125 million in 24 hours?
A lot, and then doubling down on the two top tight ends in free agency. Man, oh man. I have to say, Bill Belichick saw his ex win the Super Bowl, which is like seeing your ex get married, and he decided he needed to start going to the gym, getting a little facelift, getting a little tummy tuck. Dude, he was making sure he was looking good for this season, which is something he normally doesn't do because he doesn't care. But seeing that ex over there and Tom Brady win the Super Bowl, man, he wasn't having none of that.
Yeah, Donkey, and it looks like they're trying to put together an offense up there. What else did you see out there in free agency?
Oh boy, that's not a good one. I saw a lot of teams do good stuff. I liked looking at the Jets and Giants really improving their rosters. Tennessee, I love them adding a pass rush because if you know, Tennessee has not been good at rushing the passer for a long time. And they brought in two good pass rushers, including Bud Dupree, which to me was a good one. But to me, the two big winners from free agency was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers being able to keep that team together so far in week one, and the New England Patriots going out and stacking that roster for Cam Newton. Like, that's the best New England team I've seen in a while, probably since Brady was there. And that's something that they definitely needed to do. I mean, you saw other, like, sneaky signings, like Trubisky going to be the backup in Buffalo is a really sneaky signing. How's that not go in? But yeah, I don't think there's any losers at this point in free agency because there's way too much still to see before, and you have to see the draft, so you can't really call teams winners or losers right now. But those are the two teams that stuck out in my mind, Gingy. What were you looking at?
Yeah, looking at people getting paid, Donkey. Galladay getting a big
Yep.
contract. Lots of people out there. Really wanting to look at no one getting paid in Steelers land hugely, but I'm really excited about being able to keep Juju. Really looking forward to being
Yep.
able to get into that a little bit more.
Yeah, keeping Juju was a. I told you I liked him at the $8 million range. And ironically, that's what we signed him at. But there's also two things I told you going into this year. I did not want to see them gut the defense to keep the offense, and I did not want to see any money put into next year because running it back one more time to me was a little silly to begin with, but then handicapping yourself in the future to run it back made zero sense to me. Well, guess what we did?
Yeah, I moved a little bit money to forward. I don't know what the prospective salary cap looks like next year. We're not even into that yet. We're trying to stay in the black this year. Where are we at, Donkey? Do we still have enough to sign free agents or what? Or not enough free agents? I mean, the draft class. Excuse me, draft class.
Yes, there's enough money to put in the draft class right now, but the bigger problem is for the offseason. When we get to the season, no, because in the offseason, only top 51 count against your salary cap. During the season, it's the top 53 all count and anyone who signed to the practice squad. So, no, we currently don't stand there, but if we move on from Cam Sutton, there's enough money to sign that and maybe even have the $3 to $5 million that Colbert says he wants every year so they can acquire someone midseason like they did last year with Avery Williamson. I mean, you got to keep that money there because you have to keep the ability to do it. But at the end of the day, I'm not quite sure what the goal is right now in Steelerland. I'm not sure if there is a goal. It seems like we're running it back, but making the team worse to run it back while the other teams are getting better. There's still a lot of room to grow. That's why currently as it sits, I'm in a skeptical spot. I'm not going to call it bad yet, but I'm very skeptical about what's happening. And the big reason is there's someone I want to point out what the stats look like with or without him based off last year, and that's Bud Dupree. You know what the Steelers' record was with Bud Dupree, right?
Yeah, I do.
11-0. You know what the Steelers' record was without Bud Dupree, right?
He
1 and
didn't.
5.
Not as good. Not as good.
1 and 5. Points per game with Bud Dupree on the field. 17. Points per game with Bud Dupree off the field. 28.7. Sacks per game with Bud Dupree on the field. 3.9. Sacks per game with Bud Dupree off the field. 2.5. Turnovers per game with Bud Dupree on the field. 2. Turnovers per game with Bud Dupree off the field. 0.7. Yardage per game went up by almost 45 to 50 yards with Bud Dupree off the field. I mean, bro.
I understand where you're coming from, and I know that sounds like a very doom and gloom thing, but let me also point out, Donkey, that the offense contributes to those defensive numbers. And I still think the lack of a running game is the biggest problem in Steelerland, and being able to let that defense have a rest. I'd like to maybe even look up some stats on Steelers numbers in first half versus second half. They're getting worn down, Donkey, by their having to be on the field for constant production. Steelers need to string some dives together.
Yeah, I agree. But my bigger problem is, last year, me and you talked about this a lot. If the Steelers were going to make the Super Bowl run, it's because that defense was elite. We just needed the offense to not screw up, right?
Right.
This defense almost has no forms of being elite. Because, let's be honest, what made the Steelers' defense elite last year?
Pass rush.
Exactly. So we lost Bud Dupree. That's huge against the pass rush. But there were some other things that happened this week for Steelerland, wasn't there? We cut one Vincenzo Williams.
Ooh,
probably our
loss.
Best pass rushing linebacker. Our best run stopping linebacker.
By far the best run stopping linebacker.
You know who else we lost?
Our best blitzing secondary.
Mike Hilton. Very good. That hurts. He's actually one of the top 3 quarterback pressuring defensive backs over the past 3 years. That loss can't be overstated. And I know I said Bud Dupree, and that was my main focus. But there's a lot more we lost than just Bud Dupree. And we had a top 3 defense, and we gutted that to keep the offense together. And I know we didn't really keep the band together. There's still big holes, right, in that offense. We still don't have a top running back. James Conner might come back.
That'd be nice.
And then we went out and we signed a wide receiver and wasted a lot of money there. I guess not a lot of money this year. Going into next year's cap we did, though. But we only paid him $1.6 for this year. And I like Juju. I think Juju's good to have at $8 million. But wide receiver was our deepest position. And our focus re-sign was on a wide receiver. We did make a couple moves yesterday or today, I'm not sure which one it was, that I did like, bringing in a couple guys. I mean, Haig is an offensive lineman who plays tackle, guard, and he has some, good backup tendencies. I don't mind having backup linemen at minimums, and that seems what he's going to get paid. So I'm fine with that signing. He did drop a touchdown in the Super Bowl, though, so I'm not sure I would throw him the football.
We're not
I'm
paying
gonna
him
throw
for
him
his
the football.
hands, Donkey, not in regards to catching the football anyway.
He might be our split tight end, though. He might take that Gerald Hawkins spot, So we might need him to catch a football every now and then. So that makes me a little nervous. And then we signed Killebrew, who is a great special teamer, but if he plays defense, dude, do you remember the 97-yard touchdown Juju had?
Yeah, I do. That was a Detroit
Lions. Did you happen to know the guy he burned on Detroit's secondary who was starting that day?
Why don't you tell me?
None other than Killebrew.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so let's not have him play defense, please. If he was signed to be anything other than a replacement for Jordan Dangerfield and or Ola Adeni, I'm not sure if we're going to bring either of them back, but having a good special teams guy is cool. But yeah, I have one big concern. All these signings we've made are bench players, right?
They're not ideal starters, but they are good fill-ins. You're going to fill in this roster, Donkey.
Yeah, I said that. They are all good bench players. I have nothing against signing any of them. My bigger problem is we're cash strapped. We're looking to fill our starting nose tackle, our starting outside linebacker, and or depth depending on how good we step up there. Middle linebacker depth for sure, because and I think replacing Vince Williams is a lot harder than it looks, but Spillane is a good player, but I don't know if he's a guy who should be taking V Will's spot, if you know what I mean.
Right. I'm not
sure. So
yeah.
we have a hole there. And then it sounds like we're moving on from our best cornerback and one of our best free agent signings that the Steelers have ever done under Colbert and Steven Nelson. We're letting him go, see if he can get signed on somewhere else. I don't like that at all. And to me, I'm scared that Cam Sutton's going to start on the outside, which makes our slot really, really weak. And I think it makes our outside weaker because I don't think Cam Sutton's an outside corner. I love him in the slot, which, by the way, also a re-signing I didn't mention was Cam Sutton coming back. I love that one. I love Cam Sutton. Anyone who's listened knows that. But I like him inside at the slot.
No question, though, he's a downgrade from Steven Nelson.
Yes, if he is starting outside, he is definitely a downgrade from Steven Nelson.
Yeah, that's scary, Donkey. That defense definitely not coming back as good as it went away last year.
And I told you this before. Explain to me what the idea is of gutting a top 3 defense to make them a mid-pack defense just to keep together a bottom 10 unit, which that offense came in at 21. That's close enough to bottom 10. I think we're all okay calling them a bottom 10 unit, right?
Probably right in 20, 21, yeah.
They were 21, I think, in points. So we're gutting a top 3 unit to keep together a bottom 10 unit? What's the thought process there, Gingy?
It's somebody has a lot of faith in Ben Roethlisberger.
That's fair. I'll give you that. I can see that. And I am going to put forward a notion that maybe isn't popular and maybe is not the common notion here. But I want to say I think the Steelers' goal, and I think Kevin Colbert is about selling jerseys right now, as you have pointed out before. Look at the people we brought back. Jersey sellers, Juju Smith-Schuster, woo! Okay, that aside, which it does seem, I feel like Kevin Colbert is essentially saying, I'm coming back to Pittsburgh for 1 year. I sure as hell don't want to be the guy to start the rebuild, and I don't give a shit what happens to him afterwards, right? Because that's what it seems the most. It seems like we are not trying to build a Super Bowl roster here, but we're trying to build an 8-8 roster that with some good breaks can make the playoffs, and then if you make the playoffs, you never know what could happen. I mean, Eli Manning somehow won 2 Super Bowls. So, are we just really trying to build an 8-8 football team that is hoping for some good breaks? Because I'm not against that, but I would like to know that going in. I don't want them to sell me that this is a Super Bowl caliber roster. I want them to sell me that this is our best chance at fielding a competitive roster, and we are going to go ahead and give it a run with Ben. But if things don't work, we're not going to be afraid to pull the plug and start someone new, right?
Oh, I'm with you right up until pull the plug. That's what you just started that whole preface with, is that this dude didn't want to pull the plug.
Right, but if you're sitting 6-7 at the end of the year, or 5-6, do you just keep running it?
I don't know, Donkey. What do you think you got behind you? Mason Rudolph? Dewey Haskins? Is that what you're doing? Are you scouting talent on the roster?
Yes. And essentially, if this team gets off to a bad start, I believe you have to figure out about those two guys because they are both going to be free agents next year. You need
Yeah.
to know if you have the answer in house because the way it looks, the Steelers aren't going to draft a quarterback based off the way it looks. You need to know, do we need to sign a temporary fill gap to help a young quarterback, or do we already have the temporary fill gap to pair with a young quarterback? Do we need to go out and sign a Mitch Trubisky type of talent level guy, or is he already on the roster? And I'm not saying if this team is competitive, you do that, but I'm saying the way they're building this team, this is a step they have to be willing to take if this team proves to be non-competitive.
I don't disagree, Donkey. We're going to see.
And for everybody who's losing their mind in Steelerland, I would like to let you know this is always how the Steelers do business. We are never big-time signings. The bigger problem is, if you're like me, you feel like this year needed to be a big-time signing year in order to be competitive. And I don't think the people like me are wrong, but I'm just a little nervous about what comes next. But I don't mind where we are. I don't give loser grades this early in the offseason because you don't know what's going to happen. I am very nervous about a team that is downgrading an elite defense to keep together a subpar offense. To me, we're building a team to be mediocre, and that makes me super nervous, Gingy. I don't know why, but I can't stand that thought of, and it's not like we're running back a great team. Say what you want about us. We had one, maybe two Super Bowl type rosters in the past 10 years, but they always underachieved. And in the past 10 years, we've made the playoffs, I think it's 7 out of 10 or 6 out of 10, but we only have 3 playoff wins. Is that, when do you pull the Band-Aid? I guess is my question. Like, I'm not against running this team back, but I'm against the fact that we're pushing money to the future.
I don't disagree. We'll have to see what that money comes out to be in the whole grand scheme of things next year. I'm not the GM. I don't know exactly in terms of how bad of a hole you're putting yourself in.
At least $20 million of money that should have been paid if you consider a 50-50 contract breakdown off 2-year deals. At least $25 million has been pushed into next year between Ben, Juju, Zach Banner, who I would like to get into in a minute, and Cam Sutton.
Yeah, I think that Zach Banner was a great sign, Donkey. You know that. I hope they put him at right tackle. I think that he was really ready to come in and do something last year. Had that bad injury on the first game of the season, and I'm really hoping that he can come in and fill that role at right tackle.
I'm not as high on you as Zach Banner, but I do like him coming in at right tackle.
We need some push. I think he's push.
My bigger fear is he plays left tackle. And based off all the numbers and everything you're seeing, why is he getting that kind of money next year unless they're looking at him trying to be a left tackle? Like, I don't know. I'm a little nervous. I don't mind Zach Banner if he's a right tackle. I think that's a good move. If he's a left tackle, I think it's terrible, and we better sign 6 quarterbacks because no offense to him, but I've seen enough of him to know that athleticism is not something he has. He's a big boy that doesn't move. But I know you love him. I'm not against him. I don't think we could have got much better than Zach Banner at this time, especially at that money. So I like that signing, but it makes me a little nervous what we're going to do with him in the future.
I think it's going to turn out Donkey.
I hope so, dude. I hope you're right on this one. I'm not at all against that. And, I'm in some water. What the heck?
Oh, get out of the water.
But Gingy, this team's making me nervous. I don't see the pot of gold. I don't see the hope I had last year just because I don't see an elite unit like I did last year, right? Am I crazy for feeling this way?
I don't think that you are, Donkey. The team's not necessarily better at this point in free agency than they were at the end of last season. I don't
If
disagree with
anything,
that.
yeah. If anything, even that offense is a step worse than it was. And that's scary to think because we still don't have a top running back. You say what you want. James Conner was the best running back on that team. We lost our best blocking tight end, and even if Zach Banner comes back and is better than Chuck Okorafor, we still lost our center, guard, and left tackle.
And that's what we still got to work out is what that offensive unit is going to be doing. And I think that a lot of it's going to have to do with the offensive scheme that we're putting out. I do believe that a lot of those offensive woes, Donkey, me and you, we knew what plays were being called based on personnel units on the field.
To be fair, if you've been a Steeler fan for the past 8 years, like through the whole Todd Haley thing, that's nothing new.
Yeah, but it's not good.
It's not acceptable. No,
it should not be
league.
This way.
I 100% agree with you on that.
And I think that until we see that the 32nd ranked running unit in the NFL, we're not talking. You're talking before like top 20 this, top 10 that. How about 32? That is your biggest area for improvement right there, Donkey.
Yeah, no doubt, dude. I'm not disagreeing with you.
That's what you gotta be looking at. And that's what I'm going to be looking at moving forward. I'm hoping that...
How did that not stay up there?
I am hoping that there are instances, Donkey, in the future where teams are thinking that we are going to pass and we actually run the ball. Or that teams are thinking that we are going to run, and you know what we do?
Deception in Pittsburgh,
blasphemy. We pass.
Deception in Pittsburgh is absolutely
I am hoping that these days are in front of us with a new coaching scheme.
I actually like Matt Canada. I think his offense can work well here. I don't think it works with Ben Roethlisberger personally. But, hey, I'm going to root for him. There's no way I'm going to not root for him. I'm going to try to be as positive as I can while I'm rooting for him. And after a while, I'm going to point out what I see clearly because that's what I always do. But, Gingy, I think you had something else you wanted to talk about this week, right?
Donkey, what I'm seeing right now is some very discouraging things when it comes to the media publicity and the Steelers.
Get smoked, son.
Now, pre-Juju signing, what I was seeing on the webs behind the steel curtain, Steelers
dude,
wire.
If you ever just want to go to negative city, go there.
You go to the comments bar, you look at the articles, and Donkey, they were doom and gloom. 3 days into free agency, doom and gloom. When you saw Alu go, when you saw Hilton go in the AFC North.
Dude, Alu hurts so much.
I mean, those two hurt the most for me.
So much.
I mean, Bud
hurts the most for me.
Bud hurts the most technically as a player standpoint, but I knew that we couldn't pay him. We cannot pay two premier edge rushers. There's not enough money in the world.
He's only getting $5.4 million this year against the cap. My God, if we were going to keep two people, pay him and pay TJ Watt and keep the damn Bash Bros together, bro. Damn.
I didn't. That was ever really going to be a real thing that needed to be considered. But Hilton, Alu, Vince Williams. Shout out Vince Williams for a hell of a time. A lot of good memories in Steeler land. Gonna really miss him. A lot of different things there, Donkey. But overall, they were able to salvage what seemed to be an unsalvageable situation at the starting unit thus far. Still being able to keep a threat, which is Juju and the whole wide receiving core together. Now it's just time to secure an RB1.
Definitely one of the top slot receivers in the game. But I don't.
Now it's time to secure an RB1.
I'm not a fan of the way things have gone. I'm not a fan of the way the players we lost. But you didn't really finish your calling people out there. You went back to the Steeler Edition stuff. Oh, well, come on, I want to hear all the
Donkey.
What
the negativity
made you come
in
here?
Steeler land, Donkey, was overwhelming. We're seeing
Bro, that
half.
is Steeler land. That is fucking Yinzer Media. That is what everything always is. Like, do you remember was it 2016 was our really good year, right? With Bell and AB and all that, right? That was the 2016 season.
Yes.
You should have heard the fracking behind the steel curtain then,
My
mate.
God.
Because just like the internet, it is nothing but troll city. And that's all any of those websites are, man. The people who post in the comments, yeah, there's a couple positive ones, but most of the time it's just people trying to be negative, trying to get reactions, trying to be an internet troll because, dude, they're not living a happy life, so they gotta make other people live unhappy lives. Do not judge anything you hear by what comes off behind the steel curtain. Dude, I consider myself a cynical Steelers fan, a little bit on the negative, because I'm really realistic about how I see things, and I don't really differ much and I use so much statistics to base it. But, dude, those guys put me to shame, man. Like,
that's harsh, Donkey. It's harsh. And I need Steeler Nation to at least get us to the end of April and see a draft class.
At least get to freaking Latrobe, right?
Latrobe is asking a little
lot.
On some okay, Donkey.
Man.
If we still don't have,
least let them put on
if we still don't have a TE1 and an RB1 by Latrobe, okay, then they can say whatever they want.
You are not a fan of the Eric Ebron? Excuse moi? I too am not a fan of the Eric Ebron.
Dropsy's boy plays for himself. Really talented, not going to deny him that. Really
athletically for sure.
Not the guy that I want there. Would have chose Vance McDonald over him if I had a choice. Whoopsie. Didn't mean it. Yes, I did though.
Believe you are not all on board the Eric Ebron train. He was our premier free agent signing, I'll have you know.
Oh, wow. Very indicative of a lot of free agency decisions, Donkey. Perhaps we're better off not spending money because we end up taking ex-Colts that really I'm thinking Moncrief and Ebron here that don't really leave me with a satisfied feeling.
I loved both of those signings too.
Oh my gosh, I talked to you so much about how stoked I was for Moncrief and all that jazz. Oh my God.
You remember when we were looking at free agents, he's the one dude I'm like, I really want the Steelers to sign him, but there's no way they will. They signed him and then he couldn't catch a football. Oh my God, dude,
so
that
unlucky.
One let me down.
Yeah.
That really one let me down hard. Oh, man. Well, Gingy, do you have any shout-outs this week? Because wait, do we have anything else to cover first? Let's start there. I am a fucking boss.
Don't think that I have anything else to cover. There was a lot that went down this week. We lost a lot of good players with some good memories. Shout out to Mike Hilton. Please be nice to us when you come back. All right, I don't want to see you. I don't want to see you taking out Ben Roethlisberger's ribs and all that. I have enough fond memories of you the way it is, and I think we're just gonna keep those memories tight and close to my heart. And hopefully we don't see him in any precarious positions here moving forward, Donkey.
Oh, I totally hear you. My shout-outs actually are to all those guys. Vince Williams, dude, I loved everything you did when you were here. Mike Hilton, you were a great blitzer, man. For a little guy, you played with more tenacity than anyone I've ever seen. I loved it. Loved Bud Dupree, man. You went from Bust Dupree to me your first 2 years to Stud Dupree because you came on so well. And to be fair, you developed the way a player normally does. First, second year, getting used to it, getting in, then just came on so strong. I'm going to miss every one of those guys. Matt Feeler, not so much the feels for me there, but hey, man, best of luck on your new contract. All these guys who gave blood, sweat, and tears to the Steelers, I wish them nothing but the best in their future endeavors, unless they're playing us. And then, clearly, if they're playing us, I wish them nothing but the worst. And
like I said, Mike Hilton, chill out.
Yeah, dude, for real. Don't kill whoever happens to be playing quarterback that day, please. But yeah, that sounds like a good way to go. You know where to reach us. We're out here on our socials. You can catch me at Viking Donkey on Xbox or Viking_Donkey on Twitch. You can also catch the Daily Dose of Donkey with Ginger if you're not a person who is catching it on the YouTube. That's a weird spot. You can catch Gingy.
Gingy, Mutant Xbox Live, Golf with Look at Us Go. Anytime, hit me up.
Oh, shit. I flew it off. Thank everybody for tuning in. I appreciate everyone who makes us a little bit better. I'd love for some more comments out there so we know what we do good, what we do best, what you'd like to hear about. Off-season's kind of a boring time, so I'd love to know what people are looking forward to hearing about. And again, thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll catch you next week at your Daily Dose of Donkey with Ginger.
Steelers Nation, wave 'em if you got 'em. Let's go.
I suck.
Aww.